When it comes to health care reform, President Obama is keeping Washington and the news media right in the crosshairs. Let's listen to the president, who was all fired up, talking outside Philadelphia today.
Who won the news cycle? That's just how Washington is. They can't help it. They're obsessed with the sport of politics. And so that's the environment in which elected officials are operating. And you've seen all the pundits pontificating and talking over each other on the cable shows, and they're yelling and shouting, and they can't help themselves. That's what they do.
All right, let's discuss what the president is saying with David Gergen, our senior political analyst, and our CNN political contributors, James Carville and Ed Rollins. James, you're smiling like that. In my many years here in Washington, whenever a politician goes after the news media like that, it's a sign of trouble for the politician.
It is. Now, maybe the president was surprised to find pundits when he came to Washington, but we've been around for quite a while. I don't know if we're probably not deserving of very much, but I don't know if we deserve all the attention we're getting from the president. But we're here and been here for quite a while and probably be around for a while.
He doesn't like that cable chatter, which you're a part of that cable chatter.
Well, I was in the White House when cable was in its infancy, but it certainly has had an impact. The bottom line, he's the 44th man to serve in the Oval Office. Every single president at some point in time has complained about the media, whether it's pamphlets in the early days of George Washington or whether it's cable television today. I have found that presidents usually have two great days in the White House. One, the day they get inaugurated, and the second day is when they're out having their library dedicated. And everything else between is trench warfare. And I think if things are going well, there's no staff dissent. When things aren't going well, which they're not going well for this president, then there's a lot of staff dissent, and they start a lot of finger pointing. I think this president comes off very whiny, and I think it's beneath him. And I think at the end of the day, he needs to toughen up. He picked the agenda. He ran with the agenda. He's had a year to try and sell his health care, but he's not made the case to the American public, and at the end of the day, he can't whine about it.
And David, if there was ever a president who had favorable media attention over the past year or two, it was this president. He really did have a nice honeymoon, as far as I can recall.
He had an extraordinary honeymoon as a candidate in the early days of his presidency. And I think some of the points he's making are well taken. I think he and a number of his aides have been making these points now incessantly for a period of weeks. But I think Ed Rollins has got the bigger point. When you're president, you don't whine about these things. You learn to play the game well, and